Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Shut Door or Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of All of Fabric 7. And I have a little bit of a rant to get into while we search the rest of this village. So I've been kind of exploring. We've not really gotten a whole lot of stuff. We've grabbed some Croptopia saplings we found. Nothing too interesting. Stuff that we're going to look at later down the line. And I hope to find another village so we can kind of showcase some of this. But honestly, I kind of went off on a rant, and I still want to go off on a rant. I just kind of want to try and conceptualize my thoughts on this pack so far, right? We haven't played that much. I mean, yes, we've had the kind of take one, the beta version of this pack, but I'm trying to consolidate how I feel about this pack without going off on a tangent, and I think I've kind of got it generalized. Okay, one of the things that I don't like about this pack, and I've talked about this with all of Fabric 6, and I may have talked about this in the original beta version, is that they've shoehorned in a lot of different mods to other mods, okay? And they've also limited a lot of what you do because they want to push it towards the very end of the game. And it becomes the issue of not really needing the stuff at the end of the game because you've already beat it. So for example, if we looked at the Angel Ring here, this is an insane recipe, right? This is basically, you've beat Industrial Revolution, you've kind of gotten completed with the Bosses of Mass Destruction, because this is a whole bunch of just different boss fights. You've got the Hyper Nitro Crystal, which is blocks of Nitro Crystals, which is, Powa's Nether Star, and all of that different stuff. I accidentally just clicked on a recipe thing there. But yeah, you can see that Nitro Crystals aren't cheap. Basically, automate Nether Stars, get a whole bunch of Redstone, automate Power's Blazing Crystals, things like that. This is insane. Especially because at the end of this, you're basically done with the pack. You've beat Ad Astra, you've beat Industrial Revolution, you've pretty much beat Tech Reborn. You've got every single Ender Pearl from Ender Pearl Overhaul, and also Zenith God Pearls. It's insane because at the end of the day, when you're there, you've beaten all of Fabric 7, right? Like, that's it. You don't need to make this. And it feels like, to me, what they did was kind of like all the mods 9, where you have the Greg Star and you have the all the Modium Star and all of those different things. That makes sense because that's your end goal, right? It's not inhibiting progress. Yeah, they've changed up a little bit of the recipes to shoehorn in their own materials and kind of make it a little bit harder to get stuff. But also, when you get those materials, you're a lot stronger. You've got a lot of different pieces of equipment that are going to basically make you a tank. And that is awesome, right? But with this pack, when you get to that point, you're basically done, and there's no need for flight. And I think that conceptualizes a lot of my issues with this pack in particular. Because this is, in my opinion, from the name, all of Fabric just kind of, and to me, says, hey, this is what Fabric has to offer, and, this is a good pack to show you what it can do. But in my opinion, it really doesn't do that. And maybe I am missing something, right? Maybe flight isn't that hard to get, and maybe I've just overcomplicated it, which I could have, right? That's a completely valid thing. But at the end of the day, whenever you kind of have a pack like all of Fabric 6, back when I first did it, I enjoyed it genuinely. But over time, they started updating it, and they started adding modern industrialization, and making it to where that was the kind of main focus of the pack, and requiring a lot of different things to be gotten by modern industrialization, which is basically a light version of Greg Tech. And there was no if and or buts about it. You could kind of mess around with some things using Tech Reborn, but it was so little that it really didn't matter. And that's one of the reasons I didn't want to play that pack anymore, is because it showed very, very quickly where its actual state was in that second take. And I didn't know it when going in, right? It wasn't as bad when I first did it. The only issue I had when I first ended the pack was it was just like reinventing the wheel every single time I wanted to do one thing, right? And also the fact that like doing a lot of the vanilla stuff, like making the gold farm that I never actually got to, or the wither skeleton farm that I never got to, it took hours, right? Because my thing with modded Minecraft is honestly quality of life. It's one of those things you don't really think about with Minecraft, like being modded. It's a lot of things just add a little bit more to the game to make it actually not take hours and hours to do one thing. Because like the Enderman farm, that took hours to do. And then, from what I know, people commented, "Hey, does this work in the newer versions? Because they've added this creature or this creature." And it's just like, okay, so basically they've messed everything up, and now it's not even a vanilla-esque pack. It's hey, it's a fabric pack. It's too modded to actually be able to do anything vanilla-esque, right? Which was do the Enderman farm because other creatures were added and it broke things. And so that's it took a lot of time. And when you wanted to do something modded, it just took way too long to even to even do like the mob farm, which I think was the last project I really worked on. It was too slow to even be really useful. And I mean, yes, you could have tried and build like a normal vanilla mob farm, but at the end of the day, it would have been basically equivalent, right? And I enjoyed, trying to find the pieces to fit it together. But after all that effort, it was absolute crap. I won't lie. That was what happened. It was crap. I sat there for hours watching it and kind of just analyzing how crappy it was. But that's because Kybe, right? I didn't go in and change the configs like I could have, because a lot of the times I don't want to do that just because at the end of the day, we're trying to keep it as similar to the original pack as possible. And of course, I've added mods that kind of break that ideal. But, sometimes I feel like that's a good idea because genuinely, if I didn't, I'd probably go mad. So, let's see. We got a rotten tomato. Let's see. Let's just toss some of this stuff in here, because I want to grab as much of these goodies as I can. But yeah, that's kind of my conceptualized opinion, kind of condensed down into what, about a 5-minute rant. And I mean, I genuinely would love to love all of Fabric packs, right? Do I have a lot of faith in this pack? Honestly, not really. Not really. Um, I feel like the people behind it, they could do a good job. It's just they've kind of taken the idea of all the mods 9 or all the mods, and they've kind of just made a crappier dollar store version. And I don't mean to insult any mod pack authors or anybody that's got mods in this pack. There's quite a few very good mods. But whenever you kind of create a vanilla-esque pack and then throw things in here that prevent it from actually being vanilla-esque and also being able to be progressed through quickly, it becomes just a pain, right? And I hope that makes sense, right? I'm not, I don't want to diss on anybody that's involved in this. I just genuinely think that that's kind of where this would go. All right, so we quickly got back to the base here. And one of the things is I've kind of changed this. We don't have the 9x9 anymore. It's actually been taken out. It used to rest right about there. And I've kind of put a hole in the wall to kind of make a nice little storage room. Here's the bedroom. And we've kind of got hanging signs here to allow for us to know where we're going to place stuff. And I think this is going to be nice. We have room to expand the storage, of course, that way or that way. And we could, of course, do something this direction as well. Nothing too fancy, but overall, it's going to get us where we need to go. Okay, so before we go and do any more progression, I want to just give some suggestions on how to improve this pack in general. I think one of the biggest things is make flight mid-game. Flight is one of those things that it's not necessary, but if you were to compare this pack to Forge, the jetpacks alone, which I can just kind of show you the recipes. So Dash Engine, so you're going to have to go through Ad Astra. You're going to have to at least get to the first or second tier planet. You've got Electrum Jetpack, which is going to be Electrum from Tech Reborn, Industrial Foregoing, Bumble Zone. So you basically have traveled through 2 different dimensions to get 2 tiers of jetpacks, right? because you go from Desh to Glistening Honey Crystals, which are Bumble Zone. The Platinum one, of course, is the third dimension, so you have to be gone through the end. And then the fourth one, you have to kind of not really progress through a dimension, but you have to farm Wardens enough to get Echo Shards, which I don't even think these drop from Wardens outright. They do now, okay? So that's awesome. You could set up a Warden farm and probably get this figured out. So that's not too terrible, but you also need Ruby Ingots, Sapphire Ingots, Netherite Thrusters, Netherite Ingots, and of course you also need 4 Netherite Ingots to get 4 Echo Ingots. And so, I mean, that's only 8 million energy. Outright, that is not good. I think about average for the end tier for Forge backpacks is about 30 to 40 million. So you're showing how limited these jetpacks actually are. And if you hover over, you use 833.0 E per tick. So you're going to run out quite quickly. It's not going to be too insane, in all honesty, for how much work you put into it. And of course, that is your really only gettable source of energy, because the other source is just ridiculous. Because it is the Angel Ring, which is requiring going through so many different things. Honestly, pull all of that crap out. Just outright throw it in the trash, because there is absolutely no reason that flight should be that difficult. That's my opinion. I mean, if you guys want to, give suggestions, and maybe, talk about why I'm wrong in the comments, I will accept it. I will talk to you guys about it. We can be civil about this, because honestly, I would love to hear your guys' opinions. Because from my perspective, if you just improved a lot of the crafting recipes, changed them back to default, even if you kept like the traversal to dimensions, which is kind of iffy in my opinion, because you should probably have flight before then. In most cases, right? In most Forge packs. And that's the other thing. I'm basing this off of Forge, right? Because that's my experience. But whenever your end game is basically getting a Angel Ring, which I think is probably one of the end game quests, because that was, I think, one in All of Fabric 6, it's kind of just not really useful at that point. So it just becomes kind of just a waste of time. So I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think, but that's my biggest suggestion, is think about how a lot of people expect, what do people expect to actually be able to do by middle game, right? Because at the end of the day, I expect to be able to have pretty decently enchanted, at least diamond armor, be able to have some rudimentary type of flight, and also, have the ability to kind of enjoy the game. I mean, because like my thing is like, if I have to go hunt for resources for hours, that's going to be an issue. I don't feel like doing that, because of course this is, I try to upload daily, and it's been a lot harder because I just have not been feeling up to it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And just kind of think of those kind of things, because you could add a mining dimension. If you wanted to take down some of the ore, generation rates, then you could. It wouldn't be a big issue. It's just, doing so, you really need to make sure that you are, keeping a dimension usable enough to actually be justified in actually being used. Because if it's not, that great, I mean, yeah, you may not have mob spawning, but if you can't find anything that's useful in that dimension within, a couple hours, then it's not going to be useful at all. You may as well not even put it in the pack. So it's like you could nerf it, or buff it, or whatever, because I mean that's what all the mods does, right? They have their mining dimension, but the thing is, it is gated behind getting all the modium, which is an understandable thing, because they have pretty decent rates in that dimension. And also you can of course find like the end stone and netherite, or nether ores, end ores, and all of that different stuff, which does make it a lot more overpowered. But you're not really getting to it quick, because you have to get to an ancient city. You have to get to, a couple different things before that point, which it's not so overwhelming that it's ridiculous, right? So, just keep that kind of stuff in mind. Look at what other packs are doing, and also all the mods, kind of implies that you're looking at a lot of different, you're looking at what mods Fabric has to offer. And whenever your Fabric pack basically just shoehorns in one main mod, which is modern industrialization, it really doesn't give the impression that it's all the mods, but people may be maybe misunderstanding and think, oh, well, Fabric really doesn't have much to offer. Why would I play it if it's only one main tech mod? Um, in a sense. So that's just some general ideas, general suggestions. Broaden the horizons, separate some stuff, make things kind of feel like you're actually progressing instead of going from early game suffering to, mid game suffering to then having the ability to get somewhere at the end of it. Just some ideas, nothing, but yeah, right now we're actually building the villager breeder. By the way, that's what we're doing. I just kind of not really talking about it because it's not too bad. So this is, of course, a 9x9 farm. We're going to then build walls around it. I think about 4 high. 3 high, 4 high, doesn't really matter. But we'll have to get 2 composters. We'll have to get some trapdoors. This is something we've built several times in the past. I believe we built it in Vault Hunters. We built it in a couple of the Direwolf 20 videos. I think we built it in the last All of Fabric 7 world. But it's always just a kind of a good thing to go to just because it's useful. So yeah, it's not going to be too terrible. I'm probably going to finish this stuff off camera real quick, like just getting the actual foundation put up, make sure I've actually placed everything correctly, and I'll be right back. All right, so we've kind of got this a little bit started here. So, of course, 9x9, we're going to put a roof on this real quick, but let's F3G this. So we've just kind of got a room that's enough to place down a bed. I think, actually, it's a little bit longer, but we actually probably could use that to put a torch here. Maybe a torch here and here, so that way it's lit up enough. But a bed here, here, and here. We're then going to put trapdoors right here. This is actually not going to be all, the same completely and utterly for the ones we've done previously. That's okay. There is a tutorial or two out there that actually makes a simpler farm than this. That uses like 1 trapdoor. Honestly, I love to do more just because then we don't have any logistical issues or anything like that. Whereas, villagers get stuck or anything, or just, hop over the actual block. So I've seen that happen a couple times. So let's get a couple trapdoors. Probably need a little bit more than that. Let's toss away some cobblestone real quick. So we're going to put trapdoor, trapdoor, trapdoor. Trapdoor, trapdoor, trapdoors. Just see how I like glided over that? That was interesting. And we're actually going to put trapdoors here. So let's get a handful more. 2, 4. Let's go for 6. I don't care. We may have a couple extra. I guess actually we really don't need the trapdoors on this side. We just need them on one side because in that way adults can't actually walk through here. So just like that. Because technically this is not a 2-block gap. This is, a little bit less. But then that way nothing should be able to come through here, if that makes sense. And we'll, have to do waterway and everything like that, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But what this should result in is a carrot farm that's in this room that we're standing in, with enough torches, of course, and everything like that. Let's see. So we're going to put down water in the center. Put down cobblestone so we can actually have a pillar here that'll have torches on all 4 sides. And I think we may want to have at least 1 torch in each corner, just because this is a closed-in area, so it may not grow fully, but that's okay. That should be good. And then we're going to till this whole area. Of course, I don't have a hoe on me, so let's go just make one real quick. That's not what I meant to do. I was trying to shift-click out of that. Stupid thing wouldn't let me for some reason. Okay. And then we can just till this whole area. Okay, so now it's all tilled. It'll all fertilize and all that stuff. Let's go grab some carrots from the house real quick. Okay, so apparently I don't have any carrots. I have potatoes. This should work. I think villagers can breed with 12 carrots, 12 potatoes, or 12 beetroots. I believe we should be good. I hope. So let's plant this whole thing with potatoes. Try not to eat them. Hold on, let me eat actual food real quick. And no, I didn't use all my carrots making golden carrots. I keep finding golden carrots, so I just keep eating them. I don't think I've ever had a carrot yet. And just kind of haven't even thought about that. So I will definitely be on the lookout for carrots. Okay. But yeah, we should be able to fill up this entire thing. Okay. So the next portion is getting the beds. So let me go get some string. We should have enough string in our house to get 3 beds. That's all we need. And then we're going to work on getting the water channel to get the villagers pushed out. We're probably going to have to build a villager trading hall somewhere around here. I'm not going to do it underground. We're going to try and get them above ground. I think we figured out a pretty decent thing to get adult villagers pushed away from baby villagers the last time we did this, so we're going to implement that system. So that shouldn't be too difficult. All right, beds. Be right back. All right, we've got the beds. So we're going to do 3 beds. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. That should be good. And we're going to dig down about 2 blocks. So there will be a fall here, but we're going to, of course, put water. Okay. And then let's go out probably about 5 blocks, maybe 6 out in this direction. All right, quickly crafted up a shovel. So 6 blocks from the base block, which is going to be right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that should come right above. Yeah, right there. Okay. So I'm not 100% sure how I want to do a channel, but I'm kind of thinking I want to basically have. Let's actually make sure. So technically, nothing should be in this chunk at this point because the actual normal breeding villagers are in this chunk. So if we actually pushed up our adult villagers, that shouldn't be actually an issue. The only thing that I can think of is we probably want to make sure that we actually get this at the end of a stream. So 1, 2. Oop, that's not the right thing. So right there. So yes, this is perfect. This is actually right at the end of a stream. And then what we're going to do is I want to push all of the villagers into a corner. So we're going to do this, which this actually may cause them to like go up and down. So we're going to do... if they die, it don't matter. If they suffocate to death, they'll just breed another one. So we'll do this. So this will basically prevent adults from popping back up here. Unless we actually wanted to do it one further. That may be a good option. Just do it down 1 more. Let's get back up here for a second. And then that way we can kind of get this set up. So they basically will fall very slowly down here. And then I think what we can do is go a couple blocks. Where is that chunk boundary? Let's mine to it real quick. I just want to see. Okay, so here's chunk boundary. So I probably want to go 1, 2, 3 from chunk boundary. Okay. And then we're going to have sign. I hope this is right. I mean, we're going to test it. Really, we're going to probably put down a baby village or an adult villager and just see if he goes up. Okay, so it's going to fall. They're going to come here. And then what should happen is when they're here, they should bob up and down, basically. They should catch this stream. And then they should bob up here. And I probably just need to go grab a couple buckets. Hold on. I keep accidentally just grabbing 1. So 1, 2. And we'll see if we can get them to kind of go up a water elevator to right here. Maybe one more. Or should I push this over one? I don't know. This is honestly, it's all going to be up to you guys if you wanted to build something like this. It's not as complicated as I'm making it out to be. That is for sure. So let's go up this direction. The problem is I want them to be above ground. I don't want them to be going down again. So we may need to do kind of just another water chute thing here. So something like that. And of course they shouldn't drown as long as they just keep going up. And then maybe one more. I did not mean to type a W there, by the way. Let's go grab a couple more buckets of water. But this should result in us getting some villagers, which is going to be a fantastic thing. Also, this is kind of that suggestion, right? They've where they could make things a little bit easier on mid game or early game, like these monster balls, for example. Yes, they have golden lassos, but villagers are not able to be picked up, as easily using those because, of course, you have to get resources and blah 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 blah. And by that time, it's mid game. Let's be honest. To get this kind of more balanced, of course, I've got like my monster ball put in here, so that way we're not just spending hours and hours trying to chain these guys through minecart and nether portals and yada yada yada, right? So that way we're actually able to kind of make this more interesting, make it a little bit quicker, and also just have something that Fabric does offer, be able to be done. I do like the mob lasso stuff, but man, I don't want to use it because I want to actually be able to get this done quick. Okay, so there's that. And then I think what we're going to do is we could probably get him off into that chunk. And then we can start the actual mob farm thing. And of course we're going to have to raise this. This isn't going to be a fully complete tunnel yet. And we're probably going to want to close it in just in case. Make sure we light it up. This is probably going to be an eyesore, but that's okay. That's usually how my builds go. So right here, we probably want to dip. And then we're just going to block the water off here for a second. Hold on, let me get back up here. Because it's going to go down, which will just increase speed overall. And then I think what we could actually do is kind of just staircase this. So they're at this ground level here. And we could start the villager breeding area, or like the actual villager hall right there. So if that makes sense. So we just kind of staircase this. Let's see. Let's fix this. Hold on. Let's actually build this correctly before we get it going. Okay, we're just going to stop it right there. So take out that block. Nope, did it again. I want to be able to make it a staircase. Just like that. Okay. And so villagers should be able to come down here. And they're going to basically rest right at the end of this. So let's make sure they've got enough headroom. Where'd my... Man, I keep accidentally taking my pickaxe out of my inventory. Or out of my hotbar. So actually, we just want to do that. And of course, we'll take a ride down this just to ensure that we don't bump our head. And then this should basically get us to the point we want to be. Okay, so we want to keep that there. Probably could take out this. Okay. F3G. So that should be our waterway. Not too complicated, not too pretty, but hey, We could totally prettify this if we wanted to, but I'm not going to right now. So right about here is our entry. Nope. Right about here is our entry. We're going to put an iron door here, by the way, so don't worry too much. So we'd fall down. Torch, torch. Perfect. Torch, torch. Very slowly. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're baby villagers. They need time to grow anyway, so it's not like it matters that we have that. And then, of course, they're going to get here. They're going to bob and weave. They're going to bob and weave. They're going to bob and weave. They're going to get up here. They're going to then slowly descend down here. And if we wanted to speed this up, most likely we could just do this. That did not work like I was hoping. I was trying to place the block there. And then, of course, you know, they get down here pretty quickly. And this is where we would pick them up. And, of course, we're going to build a hall and everything around this. So it's not like they're just going to be stuck here and turn all of them into villager or baby zombie villagers and stuff like that. So let's just get the end cap here placed so we could actually get the other two villagers placed in here. I probably need to go grab some iron. But for right now, let's just close this off. Okay. And then we're going to get the villagers placed in here. So, oh, we need the composters. I forget about that. Okay. So the composters, I need that still. So let me go grab those, and we'll be right back. Alright, so we've got the composters. We've actually got the iron doors. We're just going to place this here. But we're going to get the composters placed down. So we're going to place one here. And we're going to place one here. And that way they should both become farmers. And they should be able to, you know, get all the crops and all the goodies they ever need. And that should be fantastic. Okay. So, that should get this going, right? This should be our start to this. I really think this looks really, really dumb. But, oh well. It's what we're dealing with. It's what we can do. I would love to make it simpler, but for right now, we're okay. Let's quickly just get these patched up on the side so nothing can path to it. So there's no issues. I think that's always something I like to make sure of. I don't think there ever is, but you never know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I apologize that a lot of this was a rant this episode, but I hope whoever watches this, you know, can take some feedback. And, you know, if any of the people who actually make the pack watch this, which I highly doubt, that's just some suggestions. Honestly, I mean, even if they made a separate pack altogether that was kind of just a simpler All of Fabric 7 or a simpler All of Fabric 6, that kind of breaks things down, pulls modern industrialization out, actually allows for people to experience Fabric with a little bit simpler of a time, that would just be awesome. But anyway, thank you guys. Stay awesome. Can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.